In just a few days here in the UK, we're finally going to get our hands on Pokemon Sun and Moon. It's looking like it's going to be really good, but we might be having a Nintendo Switch version of this game if some rumours are to be believed. Now, these are according to sources of Eurogamer, which say that the codename game Pokemon Stars is already well into development and will be coming out for the Switch in 2017. Now, while Pokemon Stars is a codename, it could actually end up being the actual name for the game, just because of the naming conventions, ever since the classic games that most of us grew up with, they've had a third version, which is kind of like the culmination of both versions. For example, Pokemon Yellow followed Red and Blue, Pokemon Platinum followed Diamond and Pearl, that sort of thing. And with Pokemon Stars, it looks like this idea is going to get a bit of a revival. However, if this is indeed true, it is of course the first time we'll see a mainline Pokemon game spanning separate Nintendo consoles within the same generation of games. Now, if this rumour is true, it obviously will make it the first Pokemon game to make it to a home console. Now, of course, it technically is a handheld home console hybrid, but the result is the same, playing Pokemon on a big TV. And apparently they've got a bit of a parallel development structure which has allowed, work in progress Stars to be developed on while they're working on Sun and Moon, and while apparently the development has been paused on the Stars to finish Sun and Moon in time for the launch this month, apparently now that it's pretty much out, it's out pretty much now in America and Japan, will be coming out in Europe next week. Don't know why we have to wait an extra few days, but that's the case. And now development has resumed. And of course, as well as it being, hey, here's a home console version, probably with different models and all that, it'll obviously have some features that will not be present in the 3DS version. Now, obviously, given that Sun and Moon is now finished, and this is a sort of parallel development, so any bugs or updates that need to happen to Sun and Moon will be done by a different team, so it's not going to interfere with that development at all. They're very separate from each other. And of course, now that, again, Sun and Moon is out, it's probably going to be mostly working on Stars and a team dedicated to any updates or issues that might arise with Sun and Moon. Now, there are rumblings that there might be more Pokemon in the Switch version, but sadly this was not confirmed by Eurogamer's sources. However, Pokemon will be tradable between Sun and Moon and Stars via the Pokemon Bank app. However, we do know, according to these sources, and again this could all be wrong, that the Switch version will feature the same map, the same routes and cities, the same art style, although it will be built using higher resolution assets as you would expect. Now, apparently they originally envisioned for Stars to be coming out in the summer of next year, but apparently has been moved till late next year, so while they are well into development, it's obviously still a pretty big project, and they've also got other stuff to worry about as well. To be honest, if this is true, awesome. Sign me up. Sign me up. This would be a huge boon for the Switch and would be awesome. A mainline Pokemon game on a home console? Yes, please. So, hopefully this is true. I'll be really sad if it's not. I'm not going to lie. So, it's probably going to be a while before we get any confirmation or denial on this. Nintendo obviously were asked about this rumour, but they declined to comment on this particular one. But to be honest, if they were ever going to do a mainline Pokemon game, this makes the most sense because the Switch is a home and handheld hybrid, meaning that, you can still take it on the go. You still have that handheld vision of people taking it to conventions to get their street pass or whatever, assuming that's even a thing on the Switch. I would assume that it probably will be, some version of it. There's still that aspect of it, but you then have the aspect of, I get to play Pokemon on a big TV. Getting hyped just thinking about it. Calm the hype thrusters. We don't even know if this is true yet, but fingers crossed that it is. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.